receive guidance, you want to follow it, but you've got a partner or a spouse, they don't believe in this stuff, they don't want to follow anything you're saying. So now what? Stay tuned to find out. You receive guidance from 190 Vision. You're excited, you want to follow it, you're ready to move forward. But you explain it to your partner or your spouse. And they're like, no, I don't believe in that hokey pokey stuff, or I'm not following that. And they go and they make the decisions and do what they want to do that affects you and your whole family even. So now what? How do you handle that? What do you do? We have many examples, actually. Let's go through a few. A lady contacted us, said that her husband wanted to buy a house, so they started looking for a home. She, of course, works a lot with us, and she said, you know, here's a home, this is the address, this is what I think, and she was receiving guidance from us. But every time she would go back to her husband and tell him, he would say, no, 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 no. Finally, he decided on a house to buy.
Well, you kind of went ahead with that story. I like the look Rose going. No.
What details did I miss?
First, she contacted us, and she asked if they should buy a house because her husband wants to buy a house, and the guidance was no.
Part of the story I didn't know. Continue.
No, that's it. You go ahead with the rest now. So
the guidance was to no, not buy a house, but he insisted on buying a house. Because I remember we received many addresses to check for them, and it was always not very beneficial for them.
And this one was a great deal, the one that...
And the one that the husband decided on was a really good deal.
According to him.
According to him. So he bought the house. Once they bought the house, oh my gosh, we got messages multiple times a day. This just happened in the house. That just happened in the house.
Right,
this is going on. It was like all kinds of things happened.
Maybe that's an exaggeration. I don't know about multiple times a day, right? That's what I'm saying.
Multiple times a week? I know it was a lot.
I think my wife is doing Hollywood stuff right here.
Yes.
But we got messages, is the point.
We got lots of messages.
Not about lots of messages, but we got messages. Let's tone it down a bit.
But really, there was stuff.
Well, first of all, the wife was really upset about about buying the house.
Yes, she was.
Because she was concerned about, okay, we're not following guidance. How does it affect myself and the family? You know, and so that was the first part.
Yes.
You know, and then of course, then the messages about the different things that were going on with the house.
Yes.
So what were some of these things?
Well, some of them were something like with the furnace, and something happened with the water in the house. The kids were seeing spirits in the house.
See, to me, that was a big one.
That was a huge one.
I'm like, there's some strange things going on in this house.
I mean, there were just a lot of things that would happen, but because the wife was in tune with 190 Vision, she constantly sent us updates and let us know what was taking place, and work was done from here in order to help them, and things calmed down. I don't think we've had any issues for a while, like years, but it's finally in a very nice place for them, and everything is going according to the current plan. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so what does that mean? Because that's why we're recording this video, right?
Yes. So even
for example,
though
So for example, the wife was very concerned that, okay, I didn't follow guidance, you know, and I didn't have much choice because my husband just decided to do this on his own, and she was really upset about that. What do you have to say about that part, that concern?
Well, it's just like the astronauts who go up into orbit. There's constant course correction. The Ascended Masters know that we have free will and that everyone we deal with has free will. So there's constant course correction. Okay, so you didn't stay on this path. Let's correct things and help you along so you can stay on track for what your overall purpose is in this life.
That's a good way of placing it. I'm explaining it because that's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally, so then if that's the case, couldn't somebody just say, well, so we don't have to follow guidance then because they're going to help us anyway?
See, but when you follow guidance, it's the easier path. And that's something that Mother Mary had told me years ago. Take the path of least resistance. Otherwise, you start going down a path that's not ideal for you, you're going to have a lot of challenges. And it might feel like you don't get anywhere, as some people would say, or there's always something else blocking you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. But if you receive the guidance and you follow the guidance, there may be some challenges, but it's not going to be as much as going down the path of just choosing what you want versus following the guidance.
So what you're saying then is that...
There are less bumps in the road on the easier path.
Got it. So what you're saying is that, putting it my way,
Yes.
because the Ascended Masters can see the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
then they find the approach that is best for us, like the easier route and quickest route to get there.
Yes.
You know, so if we just follow that, then of course we get there quicker and less challenges.
Right. And
But
as you
if we-
said that, go ahead.
Oh, okay. But if we decide to do it on our own, which is okay, it's not like the Ascended Master will get upset or decide not to work with us. It could take longer, and there could be more challenges, more frustrations. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and as you're saying that thought that popped into my head was using the Maps app on the cell phone, where when I put in an address of a destination, it will show me minimum 3 routes to get to where I want to go. Each one, of course, one might be back roads, one could be a highway, but it shows me what challenges would be along the way, like maybe road construction on one, how much time it will take on this one versus that one. And it's easier to see, this is the path that would be the best one, so I'm going to take that one. So it's kind of like the
Wow.
same thing. The Ascended Masters, they can see all that.
Well, think about it
You're
this
going
way.
from this point to this point.
Right. I really like that. You're awesome, huh? You're not just beautiful.
That's why my
you're very
TIM president's
intelligent.
giving me this stuff here.
That's because when you think about it, like we just said, the Ascended Masters see everything, right? Mm-hmm. Well, how do you get that information for the Maps app?
How do I get it for the Maps app?
Where did it
It
come
comes
from?
from a satellite.
A satellite. Where's the satellite?
It's out there
Way
somewhere.
up there. So what does it do? It can see everything down here.
Right.
See, just like Ascended Masters can see everything in the
But
karmic
down
record.
here.
That's pretty good. My wife is beautiful and intelligent.
That was
awesome?
my TIM presence.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's really good. That's really good. So I think everybody gets that analogy.
I hope so,
Yeah.
yes.
So the point is that if your significant other decides to exercise his or her own free will and not follow the guidance that you received, you don't need to panic, right? Don't go arguing. You need to do that. Let them exercise their free will because they have the right to do that. And then that's when you reach out to us, and then we will facilitate work on your behalf to ensure that those bumps get reduced as much as the Ascended Masters can do on your behalf using your karmic record, right?
Right.
Yours and your
right.
significant other. Remember, if you're married, then it's combined. So of course, as they go through something, you go through that also with them. So that's one example. How about another example?
Another example would be a family where the husband and wife, their child, was getting to become an alcoholic, and they reached out for help to 190 Vision.
Well, the husband did.
The husband did. And there was a conversation with them and the child to discuss the situation, and it was suggested that they help him to stop with the alcohol. And
That the Ascended Masters would help.
the Ascended Masters would help with that.
Right.
And the wife decided,
No, wait, before we get to the wife, remember, so they're all three on there, and the son is an adult, by the way. He was
right,
an adult at
okay,
that
the
time.
son is an adult. Mhm.
Right. He was in college at that time, if I remember right. He was already in college.
My husband sometimes has these calls when I'm not around, So I don't remember all
You were
the
there?
details that he shares with me. No,
Oh, you-
I was not there for that one.
Oh, okay. Well, that proves the point, right? That I always think my wife's there with me, no matter what. I'll be with my girlfriend, like, honey, come on over here. Anyways, I thought you were there, right?
No.
He was already in college,
Uh-huh.
so he was already over 18, but wanted all three of them there, to make the decision together. And
Okay.
he, after the guidance was given, that if he wants to quit, he can receive help from the Ascended Masters, from the spiritual realm. They were asked, do you want to take advantage of that option? And the husband said, oh yes, most definitely. And the son said, oh yes, please, I'm willing to give it a try. And then you're going to say, and
The
then
part
wife
that my
stepped in.
husband shared with me is that the wife just stepped in and said, I don't think so. I think we should maybe just let our son do what he's going to do and try to do it on his own, or something to that effect.
Right, she said that she feels that he should not be forced. And she thought that her feeling was that because all three of them were there, and then I was on the other side of this call, that we were pressuring him into making that decision.
You're trying to coerce him into doing something?
Right. And so she didn't want that. And she wanted to make sure that he made that decision without any pressure.
See, and that also brings up a point in my mind that a lot of individuals believe that it's my husband giving this information, but it's not. It's the Ascended Masters. He just relays everything he gets from the Ascended Masters. It's not him. If he were to give you his opinion, it might be completely different than what the Ascended Masters have to say.
It usually is.
It is.
Because mine is very logical.
My husband has that engineering brain.
I tell you,
But
jeez.
then the Ascended Masters come through and it's like, whoa, I'm glad we follow those guys and not my husband
Yeah.
sometimes.
Where did you get that from, buddy? Just be quiet.
So that's an example of, not a house or a physical thing, but an individual who required help. And to this day, the situation hasn't changed.
Right, and this is at least what?
Maybe
7 years?
Yes.
8 years?
7 or 8 years.
Yeah, it's only gotten worse because now he gets involved in drugs as well.
Yep.
But there wasn't much there that the husband could do. So we had mentioned to the husband, just thank Archangel Michael for protecting your son, which he did, and then it would ease off. Then he would pick up again. He would, so it goes back and forth. The last update we got was that it worsened. So as much as Archangel Michael's there to protect, remember that you still have free will. And the angels are not allowed to step in and force you to do something you don't want to do. How is the husband dealing with that? Well, he had shared with us that the reason why the mom had taken that approach, why his wife had taken that approach, is because she also drank. And they're drinking buddies, the son and the mom. The husband had stopped. Remember, he also had a drinking issue.
Right, but he
And
definitely
with the help of the Ascended
stopped.
Masters, he stopped. He just stopped without any aid from anything. Well, except for
The Ascended Masters.
and the angels, right? He stopped, and that's why he wanted his son to talk to somebody from 190 Vision, because he had proof of himself, and they saw it when he stopped,
Right.
And they got mad at him for quitting, which I'd never heard of. But they felt that the three of them used to drink together. By him choosing not to, it was almost like he was looking down on them or something like that, the way he explained it to me.
Okay.
But that's a good example of where guidance was not followed, and to this day. Normally we can still facilitate work if the individuals decide, for example, if the son had come back and say, you know what, I changed my mind, let's give it a shot, then the Ascended Masters or angels would step in, but he never did that. And the mom never changed her mind as well. So there's not much to be done there.
Right.
And the husband just had to accept the fact that, okay, they have their own free will, they'll do what they want, I'll make sure that I stay on the path that I'm on now because I'm happy with the way things are going.
Now we have an example ourselves of a situation where years ago my husband received guidance to take care of certain things with the soccer program. And he went to the athletic director. He explained to the athletic director, because the athletic director didn't know anything about 190 Vision or what my husband does, but he explained in a nice way that, that it's best if he handles these certain things in regard to the soccer program. That was fine at that time. And then fast forward a couple years, and all of a sudden it wasn't fine anymore. And we had to sit down with the principal and some other individuals and go through what would take place. And they decided that my husband would no longer do those things.
Not me, you.
Me?
You're the one doing the work.
I was the one who did all the work. Right. But I mean, as far as a school is concerned, because my husband is the head coach, it was him. He no longer would be responsible for those duties, and therefore the school would be handling it.
Even though we explained the benefits to the athletic director,
yes,
who we were trying to help.
And the principal.
He kept telling us, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time for a family. So he said, we'll handle it, don't worry about it.
Exactly.
And that was the whole point, right?
Right. And that's something, again, through guidance my husband received. This is how it will benefit everyone, the highest good of everyone involved. But it's kind of hard to explain that sometimes to individuals who don't know this side of life, the spiritual side that we're always tapped into. So the school took over, the athletic director took over, they were doing their thing. Then he left, and a new athletic director came in, and the new athletic director was like, wait, you guys should be doing this. You know what your games are, you know what this is and that is, so you take it. So now it's been given back to us. So now the guidance is back to, as the saying goes, the ball is now in our court again. But that is how that situation turned out. That even though the other people weren't following the guidance, they technically didn't know it, even though we explained it all to them without mentioning it was guidance. And now it's finally being followed again.
Well, and now that's an example of how can you go and tell somebody, hey, this is guidance, you should follow it, right?
Right.
So that's another good one. Here we are, we know it's guidance, but we're not close enough to these people to say, well, listen, we do with 190 Vision, this is a master, so you need to follow this. So at that point, how do you deal with it? You simply state the guidance that you were given. Exactly. Without saying this is guidance, right? So
right.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think would work best. Here's a good option, or here's an option.
Or as my husband say to them, this is what we see as being most beneficial for all of us. And he listed out exactly what would take place, which was the guidance.
Right. And then they said no.
Yes. So what could we do?
At that point, we go, okay, then what do you want to do? And then, of course, when they told us that they were taking over, we said, all right, we handed it over to them. Then, of course, things started to get messy.
Yes. But as they got messy, as my husband just said, or challenges came up, my husband would turn to the Ascended Masters, okay, how should we handle this? How should we approach this?
Right.
And we would be guided on what to do. And the situations would always end up working out. Took some time, but they would always work out.
And so then, without us trying, well, we didn't try to try to correct that.
Right.
It just happened. Okay, all of a sudden, the old athletic director said, I'm resigning. We're like, okay. And a new one came in. When the new one came in, I said, by the way, did anyone tell you that you're handling all these things? And she was like, what? I said, this is what was agreed in the last meeting we had. That's what a few days later, all right, hold it. How about if you handle this? And so we just thank God for taking care of those things for us, knowing that it's the easiest thing to do.
Now, someone might think, listening to this story, does that mean the Ascended Masters got rid of that other AD?
No.
To me, the answer is no.
No,
because we still worked through whatever we had to work through, whatever karma had to be balanced. That was all still being done, even though these challenges were there.
Well, that's a different topic. We've said before that once karma is balanced with an individual, somebody normally moves on. So when we were told,
the question.
Right, when we were told, when he told us I'm resigning, he said, karma balanced. We said, thank God.
Right.
We had a lot of challenges with that athletic director. Unnecessary things too. But once the karma was balanced, he moved on. Then we have the new one who's a whole lot more pleasant, a whole lot friendly again.
Different experience.
Definitely different experience, different karma to balance.
Right, indeed.
So I hope that answers that question. No, the Ascended Masters don't get rid of people. Karma just gets balanced, and then you move on, and they move on to the next challenge you have to deal with. You move on to the next one you have to deal with. So we hope we just covered three different
scenarios.
One, where your significant other, you explain to them, but they don't accept it.
Right.
The second one, where it's explained to the individuals, but then they choose that they will do their own thing, right? And then the third one, where you don't really have that option to tell them that it's guidance, but then you just follow whatever is decided, because everybody have a free will.
That's right.
Every person has a free will, and don't take it personal.
Exactly.
Just don't take it personal.
Right. You should never take anything personal. It's just a different perspective, different understanding. We'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.